Bless the Lord, brothers and sisters. So happy to be back yet again. I thank God for you tuning in. How are you guys doing out there? You doing okay? Are you a stubborn person? Well, that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about that spirit called stubbornness. And there's a lot of people out there that are contending with this spirit. A lot of people are not fighting. A lot of people just stuck in their ways. They've accepted it. They just like to be the way they are. They think they're big shots. They think they're, I don't know, tough guys. Oh, yeah. But guess what, brothers and sisters? That stubbornness, that wicked, evil spirit, left unchecked, is going to lead you to the pit. The Word of God says he resists the proud and gives grace to the humble. So stubbornness and pride are very correlated in that you think that you know better than someone else. You think that your way is better. You could have a person who's literally in quicksand, physically in quicksand, and they don't want to get out unless it's somebody with a uniform on, a person who is experienced in getting some people out. So you're going to sit there when you're neck deep in quicksand, because that stubbornness is not going to allow you to let the people who are around you to get you out. That's kind of like what it is. Oh, yeah. You know that you are in a dead-end relationship. You know that you've been abused enough. And someone is giving you sound advice. You need to get out of that relationship. You need to get out of that circumstance. And yet you're saying, no. I'm going to do what I got to do. I'm grown. This, that, and the third. And this is going to lead you to your own demise. Yeah, being stubborn is deadly. It can kill you. There was I believe he was a Siamese twin years ago. And they were so close, not only physically, they were conjoined. They literally wanted to be together until the very end. In other words, one of the twins unfortunately died, and he was conjoined at the hip, I believe. So you have this carcass that's dead, and then you have another brother who's alive walking around with this dead body. The doctors are like, we have to get this off of you. This is going to literally kill you. And his brother, in pride and stubbornness, said no. So what happened? He didn't even live like probably a week later. This guy literally died. Because he would rather have a stinking corpse. Listen, that spirit of stubbornness will keep a woman in a burning house because you yelled at her to get out. No. She said to say it nicely. You didn't say it nice enough. You're yelling at her to get out of the fire. But she wants you to have a different tone. You said it in a rude manner, and she just wasn't feeling it. So she's not moving nowhere. Oh, yeah, that spirit of being stubborn would rather have you compromise your own very well-being because you're not trying to move. You're not trying to take heed. Oh, yeah. And you see it in the workplace. You see it in politics. You also see it in the church. Stiff-necked people. People who are having that Pharaoh type of spirit. Pharaoh was notorious in that way. Yeah, he had that spirit of being stubborn as well. He didn't want to let God's people go. So what did he and his army become? They became fish food. Oh, yeah, fish food. All the sharks that were in the water had a good meal during that time because him and his son died. You see, sin and that spirit of stubbornness will kill not only yourself, but others around you. That's why it's important to listen to wise counsel. You see it with the young folks, some of them, not all. But you see it oftentimes with the younger generation. They think that they know more than parents. They think that they know more than us. And did we say the same thing with our parents? I know I did. My mama told me, listen, you go outside, you better make sure you are dressed for the weather. It's cold outside. Put on a coat, huh? Maybe put on a hat. I don't like hats. Ma. I don't like a hat. I'm going to be cool. Listen, I'm too cool to be cold. I'm going to be all right. Listen, I'm just going down the street next to Oh, mom, I need some tussin. You need some tussin. You need some Bengay, maybe some Tylenol, and some Vicks Vapor Rub, huh? Because you're not listening. Why? Now you got to suffer. Listen, being stubborn allows you to suffer. You set in your ways. You have your house a certain way to the point where you don't want anybody to sit down. You're set in your ways. Everything's immaculate. You could literally eat on the floor. But you have you have nobody to visit. Why? Because you're too set in your ways, huh? You're not pliable. You're not pliable. You're too set in your ways. You're stubborn. Stubbornness leads to loneliness, huh? I said stubbornness. Listen, did you ever have a person who's stubborn on the playground with a whole bunch of friends? No. The stubborn child, huh? The one that doesn't want to play with anybody yet. The one that wants to hold the ball and not give it up. Usually they're what? Alone. Stubbornness also leads to what? Loneliness. Oh yeah, I'm going to just get deep today. Stubbornness is a form of rebellion, and rebellion, as you know, is a form of witchcraft. So anybody who is dealing in stubbornness or is stubborn is actually practicing witchcraft. Oh man, you see, you wasn't ready for all this today. Oh yeah, we need to talk about this. Why? Because each and every one of you out there, even including myself, has contended or has overcome or can familiarize themselves or a time in their life when they were downright pig-headed. I'll give you another example. There was a guy who was actually an owner of a property. And all around him, they were developing the area. In other words, they wanted to make it more commercial, big buildings, towers, this, that, and the third. But his house was in the middle of all this. So the developers offered him a substantial amount of money to move. He said, no, this is his property. He's not moving, da-da-da-da. So it got to the point where they sweetened the deal. They kept offering him more and more and more money. So he's like, oh, these guys really are serious. And he said, okay, since you're going to offer me this, maybe you can offer me more. Long story short, they got to a point where there was upwards of almost $3 million they were going to give this guy. And his house was tiny house. It was not even worth probably $200,000. Long story short, he thought he'd get a loan and jazz it up a bit, make it into a restaurant. And the loan that he got fell through. It didn't work out. So he went back to the loan officers that initially had that big money. And they no longer was interested in giving him money, to the point where he was not only out of a house, but also out of the 2 or 3 mil. So what does that say? That stubbornness got him out of a house and out of a substantial amount of money. Brothers and sisters, we have to realize that this spirit is hindering your life. You got a person that don't want to take their pills, don't want to take their meds, huh? I'm not saying be a junkie, but you have this certain ailment going on. And doctor's orders are saying, take this and, deal with that. Oh, you don't want to do it. But see, the problem is you want to eat any old type of way. You stubborn. Listen, you're saying, listen, if I'm going to be on this earth, I'm going to eat the way I want to eat. Well, your stubbornness is actually allowing others in your family to pick out your first grade casket. Oh, yeah. Because you're stubborn. You don't want to listen. And people who are stubborn and people who don't want to listen, again, are delaying their blessings. You see, being stubborn is the way Satan wants you to be. Why? Because Satan is stubborn. Listen, when Satan was in heaven and he tried to get a mutiny going on and all the angels on his side, don't you think that God gave him a chance? Yeah, when he was up there, he gave him a chance. I'm sure he gave him a chance. But then after a while, you want to go that way? You want to take the angels, the third of the angels with you? Okay. See ya. Got kicked out by Michael. And his life has never been the same since. Why? Because he was stubborn. Oh, yeah. He didn't want to submit. He wanted to do it what? His way. A lot of people who are stubborn want to do it their way. There's a problem with that. You're not team orientated. You got to think about others. Huh? I'm telling you, you see it. You see it. You tell somebody that you know, listen, You don't know the terrain. Don't travel this far. Think about it. Don't go. Go with somebody. Drive with somebody. No, I'm going. I'm going by myself. You wind up in places or situations, that you don't want to be in. Let me give you a prime example of somebody who's stubborn. Who's notorious for being stubborn? You probably didn't think of this one, but I'm going to tell you. This is my opinion. This is my opinion. Okay. People who climb Mount Everest, to me, are stubborn. Oh yeah, they're stubborn. They're stubborn. They're stubborn. What do you mean, Samantha? Mount Everest is beautiful. I'm just talking about the people who climb Mount Everest and make it all the way until they die. Huh? They make it until they die. See, they're like halfway up. And their pride is making them so comfortable with the altitude to the fact of they're not having enough oxygen and they just getting too comfortable. And one false move. See, pride, like I said, goes hand in hand. So that pride, I've done it before. I got this. Don't tell me nothing. I'm skilled. I've been practicing. Listen, God has the final say. This is the problem. Your hands are too small to box with God. And as long as you're a child of God, God will show you in your everyday walk with him how small and minuscule you really are. Oh, yeah. So you have this person who's a mountain climber or
an Everest enthusiast.
And this guy goes up to the mountain, man, right? You got his trail mix with him, you know what I'm saying? You got the cool, expensive glasses and the shades and the fly boots. Little outfit looking all suited and booted. But you want to climb Mount Everest. You're selfish. You're prideful and you're stubborn. Why do you say that, Samantha? Well, you see all the dead bodies and all the coffins that are on your way up, and you still decide to do this. I think that, personally, I just think it's stubborn. Because 9 times out of 10, you're not going to make it down. Yeah, there are people who make it. They put their little flag up there. Well, you kumbaya. Who cares? I'm just keeping it real. I just don't get it. If you knew that going over a bridge, and this bridge was teeter-tottery, you know, it's an old bridge, maybe a wooden bridge, I don't know, that was there forever. And you decide, I got this. I got this. That's stubbornness. When somebody's saying, no, don't do it. Your family saying don't do it. Your friends, your loved one is saying don't do it. I got this. I don't want to hear it. I'm grown. I can do what I want. Wee! And you dead. Come on now. Stubbornness. I'm not trying to be all comical. I'm just letting you know that there's a sufficient amount of people in the body of Christ that's contending with this spirit. They don't want to hear criticism. They're really tough on that. Usually they don't have good judgment. How do you get free? Well, this is how you get free from this spirit. You decide to submit and you surrender to God. Oh, yeah. You got to surrender, brothers and sisters. You got to surrender to wise counsel. And you have to think about others other than yourself. You mess around and be stubborn. Talk about, I'm not accepting his engagement ring because his ring ain't big enough. So I'll wait 5, 6, 7 years down the line and he decides to marry somebody else. You go ahead and be stubborn and selfish. You see it in relationships all the time. People are just stubborn. They don't want to move. They don't want to compromise. And they wind up alone. They wind up by themselves because they're too stubborn. Brothers and sisters, this is not a good spirit to have. So if you are contending with this spirit, you need to pray for deliverance and recognize that this spirit is trying to kill you. Bless the true and living God.